Hi guys, it's Morten here, and today I wanted to bring the Billion Gold Challenge to an end. So this is part 3 of the Billion Gold Challenge. What I'm gonna discuss today are two main things. First, I made all these guides, videos about the auction house, strategies, how you can make gold. I gave away many tips and tricks, but what you realized, or some of you realized, when you try to do those strategies is that they don't always work, and in my opinion it's getting harder and harder to use strategies and to make gold in Diablo 3 as time moves on. So the first part today is gonna be where I'm explaining why it's getting harder to make gold and why it's incredibly hard to make gold in the game right now. And second thing I'm gonna talk about today is what you can do right now to make gold in Diablo 3. Like, I'm gonna explain, in my point of view, some of the most efficient and effective ways to spend time in Diablo right now, how to make gold and how you can do certain things. For example, how should I price items, should I sell items with a buyout or just bid only, and those kind of things. So yeah, let's get started with point 1. When I started to use my auction house strategies a few days after the game launched, people had no idea what the items are worth. In the beginning, there were plenty of underpriced items on the market. I became rich very shortly in just a few days of playing the auction house and buying and reselling barbarian items. Some people didn't value plus all resist on armor, and life on hit was treated like a bad stat by some people. The knowledge players had was very low, and no one really had an idea what stats are going to be valuable and which aren't. I was able to use this fully to my advantage. Nowadays, people are much more educated about values and prices. You still find a few underpriced items every now and then, mostly by new players who were lucky to get a top item in Act 1 Inferno. However, there are certain other factors that make those underpriced items disappear pretty much. One of them are auction house bots. Let me explain quickly how those undesirable things work. So how do these auction house bots work? Let's take an example. I'm picking rings for this time. Let's say 8% attack speed, 3% crit chance, and 50 strength, for example. Then we sort it for buyout, and here you can see the cheapest ring that's being listed with a buyout you can get for 9 million gold with those stats. And let's say now the people that have the auction house bots, they consider an item with just these 3 stats worth at least 3 million. Like, if you sell an item with just those 3 stats, you can expect at least 3 million gold. So how do the auction bots work now? They usually they look for items, or they scan for items that are listed underpriced. Basically what I was doing manually, they do automatically. And the thing is, there is still some people left that don't know how to price items. For example, new players that get a lucky drop, or just players that don't really care much about auction house mechanics or prices. And for example, they find this ring and list it for like 500k. So how do these auction house bots work? As I said, they put a maximum buyout here. For example, let's say they consider an item with these 3 stats worth 3 million. So just as an example here, everything that's below 900k. So if there's an item with those 3 stats listed below 900k, the auction house bot wants to buy it immediately. So here I'm searching for this, and what's the auction house bot doing? It's just a click sequence. You don't need a third party program for this. I think the auction house bots, you can use a G15 keyboard and just macro this sequence. Of course, it's not legal, and I don't recommend anyone to use it. I never used it myself, but I think people that used it already got banned, so stay away from this stuff. I'm just showing you how it works, and there's probably still people using it. So the auction house bot is an automatic click sequence. That's kind of like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. It runs 24 hours a day, and let's say for example, now someone would put up an item worth 500k. So I'm tricking here a bit because I don't want to spend my money or gold. So I'm just increasing this to 9 million, but this would just be the same sequence if 900k and now an item with 500k would pop up. In this case the item is this. That this would be an item with 500k buyout. And in this case the auction house bot does this. Buyout, and he got it. And then he continues normally until the next underpriced item appears. So what does this mean? This pretty much destroys the manual technique to buy underpriced items for low value items and mid value items. Like the auction house bots, they don't go for items worth 100 million plus because that would be too risky for them. They just go for items like this. And I'm actually gonna do an example now and to show you how an auction house bot snipes one of my items. Like I found this ring here which adds 213 life, or let's say 200 life on hit, 25% crit damage and 4% crit hit chance. I'm gonna put this ring up for let's say 30k. I'm investing here a few millions. The ring is probably worth 2 or 3 millions, but I just want to show you how the auction house bots work. So I'm gonna put those items up, and after the 5 minutes are gone, I'm gonna activate the fraps again and show you how fast the auction house bot snipes my item. Instant. Absolutely instant. And in my opinion, that's like completely terrible for the game that auction house bots like this exist, and it should never be like that. In my opinion, Blizzard should get rid of the auction house altogether, but more on this, on like my personal opinion of the auction house and what Blizzard should do to change it in another video that I'll make in like 1, 2 or 3 days. Yeah, let's go to the next point. The third point, and yeah, the third reason why it's really hard to make gold is I shared my tips on YouTube, on D2JSB, I made the thread and with my strategies, and I just wanted to share it to a few people, but it turned out that many people are interested in this. Like this got 10,000 views. My video got 27k views, and more people are like giving guides and telling how you can make money on the auction house. But the thing is, if you reveal your information, more and more people know it and will do the same things, and then it's not really effective anymore. Like the thing with things like sniping or buying underpriced items, they only really work if there are few people doing it and if they are doing it secretly. But now with information being shared by bigger YouTubers as well, it's gonna get harder and harder to make or to use these strategies to make money. Like I expect this video to get close to 100k views, and yeah. So if you wanna make money, you either have to be very innovative, invent something new that people like myself don't even know, or use some of the strategies that I'm gonna explain you now. So let's move on to part 2, what you should do to make gold right now. And yeah, in my opinion, the best way to make gold right now is by farming. So what I suggest you to do is farm the act that whatever act you can farm. If you are geared for Act 2, farm Act 2. If you can farm Act 3, farm Act 3. That's like for the top geared people. But if you don't have good gear, if you can't even do Act 2, farm Act 1. And then it's important to identify the good items that you find and also to price them correctly. There are different pricing methods, especially for top value items. And those are the items that you really need to pay attention to, because that's where you make the gold. Like, you make a bit of constant gold by selling medium to good items, but the real big guys, the big gold bringers, are the perfect or close to perfect items. So let me show you a few examples how I would price stuff, and maybe these tips can help you a bit. And one common mistake is that when people try to sell the items or price them, they select a price that's too high and the item doesn't sell. Like if you want to put something on the auction house, you want to sell it. So let's take an example, my Demon Hunter boots. And if people see that item, like I found a good item, a A-level item or rank 9 to 10 item, I'm gonna sell this to make money. So people usually take the top 3 stats. That's good, that's what I do as well. In this case, let's say 200 dex, 70 all resist and 12% movement speed. So I'm gonna look for those boots, 200 dex, 70 vitality and 12% movement speed. 70 all resist. And now the sample size is pretty small. You see boots with 100 million and boots with 80 million. They don't have vitality, so they're a bit worse, but you can see they don't sell. So, and what you also can test is if it bid, like some people give such random numbers as bid. Like most people give even numbers, but some people give random numbers. And what do they want to achieve with that? They want you to think that people are bidding on it, because usually when it's a number like that, people bid on it. But on the other hand, people started to use numbers like this on purpose. So here I'm gonna check, are there actually bids on it or not? And here you can see there is actually a bid on it. So people are actually bidding for those items. So you know at least it's worth at least 9 million. But we want to increase the sample size with where we are comparing our item to find the true worth of it. So we just lower the requirements a bit. Let's say 180 dex, 60 all resist. Like movement speed 12% for Demon Hunter is probably something that you can't lower, because everyone looks for max movement speed. But dex and all resist, you got some room there. And now the sample size is much bigger. Like those are obviously worse boots, but you can see there are kind of similar boots listed for 4 million. And now we just try to find similar one to our boots. And yeah, these are pretty similar ones. Like they got higher vitality and they only got 5 dex less. Like those got 197 dex and our boots got 202 dex. So by just listing those boots or just searching for 5 dex less, those appeared up. And what do those boots tell us? They don't sell for 18 million, because 1 day 3 hours left means that they still haven't sold for 8 hours and probably won't sell in the next hours. You never know. But so if I would put up those boots, I know the real value now. It's greater than 9 million because my boots are better than those, but it's less than 80 million. So what would I do? In this case, I'd probably price them something around 12 million. That would ensure that I sell them and that I get the maximum gold for them. Yeah. Then something about the bidding. I'm gonna choose Barbarian weapons for this to explain the bidding system, because many people are confused with the bidding system or don't know how to use it in the best way possible. So as you can see, people are trying those even numbers, but in these 2 cases I'm 100% sure that those items don't have bids on them. You can easily check this if you go on bid, and if these numbers are the same, then no one has bid on it yet. So those guys just didn't want to put up 260 million, but they put up this uneven starting price, so the people actually think that this item is being bidded on. It sounds pretty basic, but some people still don't know. So now I'm actually trying to find an item where people are bidding. Maybe, I think people could bid 10 million for this. Yeah, here you know people are bidding for it. And yeah. So now when you find really top items, like world-class items, like items that I'm using, it's a very good idea to like post them for bid only without buyout. What advantages do you get by this? Let's for example take this one. What advantages do you get if you post it without a buyout? Many people are gonna bid on it. So many people are gonna bid on it. For example, I know that I'm gonna be outbidded, so I'm just bidding here for fun, and it shows up here. And even if I get outbid, it still shows up here, so I always have it here. And people, if they are like see an item they want and they see other people bidding on it, they are like, hey, I'm not gonna let this guy have the item, I want it. And let's say my budget for this weapon would be 50 million. And I bid 50 million. But then like 2 hours before it ends, some other guy bids 60 million. And then I might be like, hey, I'm not gonna let this guy get the item, I'm gonna bid 70 million. And these bidding wars like are good for the person that's selling it, because if you don't have a buyout, you create competition. And you might actually sell it for more than what it's worth, because people, and then there's also people that want to snipe, like that think that sniping is always good and it's always elite and a superior technique, but it's not. Sniping is only good if you are still buying the item for less than what it's worth. Like some people just snipe for the sake of it. They're like, I'm gonna snipe this now, I'm gonna take it away and then resell it. Like many people have been doing this, reported to me, I sniped but it didn't sell after. Well, you still have to always keep in mind it's all about what the item is worth. So I'm pretty sure some people are coming at this item again. It's not the best item but not the worst either. And he made actually a mistake with not socketing it, so it doesn't pop up if you show or search for 100% crit damage, for example. But if someone is going to snipe it at the end, he might put up a bid that's too high. So even if you're sniping, take care and don't bid too much. But yeah, those are the few things that I wanted to cover today. There are no really super strategies anymore that you can use to make gold, because as I said, auctioneer spots pretty much ruin legal or legitimate ways to make gold, and I really hope that Blizzard finds a problem to fix this. If not, I think the auctioneers should simply be removed, together with the real money auctioneers, of course. Yeah. And when I farm items and identify them, I have usually 10 categories where I put the items into, with 1 being the worst items and 10 being the best items. So for example, in my case, we are testing this with chest armors, and category 1 to 6 are very low value items that are only worth a few K, because the market of medium good items, like average items that are good enough to clear Inferno but not really anything special, the market in this or for these items is pretty saturated. For example, I take here a chest with 50 all resist, 50 strength and 50 vitality, and here you can see they're worth 6k or 15k, pretty much nothing. So then there's categories 7 and 8. Those are items that are already worth keeping depending on your budget. They're worth a few 100k. Less than 1 million but worth a few 100k. That's already category 7 to 8. So let's for example look for 100 strength and 100 vitality, and here you can see that's exactly category 7 and 8 items. They fit into here, are worth 500k, so they're worth selling unless you farm very much and get very many 9 or 10 items and aren't able to waste the slots. But even then I'll probably save them until you have a free slot in your 10 auctions and sell them then. And finally we got level 9 and 10 items. Level 9 is usually 1 million to 3, 4, 5 million. For example, if I up it to 150 million, here you can see it starts at 2 million and yeah, it goes up all the way to 5 million. And I think after 5 million, for example, after here the category 10 items start, because everything after 5 million is really a lot nowadays. Like you can be lucky if you find an item that sells for 5 million or more. Obviously, a category 10 item has an open end. Like you can sell it for 50 million or you can even find a weapon that sells for 200 million. Although it's probably only gonna happen once a month, and even then you must be lucky for it. And yeah, that's it. I hope you found something useful in this video and in the Billion Gold Challenge in general. And another tip that I wanted to give you, which is unrelated, is don't spend too much time biking like I did this summer, or you will end up with stupid 10 lines like this. So make sure you don't ride too much often, or don't always ride with a shirt. Yeah. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time.